Welcome back to another episode of the Elevate Collection podcast. We're so excited today. We're here in LA with the president and COO of the LA Galaxy, Tom Braun.
Welcome. We're so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being in Los Angeles.
Oh, we're so excited. Tom, here with the LA Galaxy, has led a transformational turnaround. Since his appointment in 2023, Tom has taken the club from its worst financial record to breaking record profitability and an MLS Victory Cup in the same season. His leadership has been instrumental in creating large-scale, industry-defining events like Coachella Valley Invitational and the Soccer Champions Tour, which drew over 400,000 fans to international soccer matches in the U.S. Tom has also reshaped the Galaxy's culture, focusing on fan affordability, community accessibility, and elevating soccer's presence in the Los Angeles entertainment landscape.
That sounds like a lot.
It is.
That's incredible.
Incredible. And correct us if we're wrong, but you stepped in to the Galaxy right at a point when it needed to make a change. We needed to have a big turn. You had like fans boycotting games at some point, but right before you stepped in. Is that timing accurate?
It's accurate. In my role, I've been with the club for about 12 years now. So I've seen the journey of the Galaxy. I started with the Galaxy in around 2014 when the Galaxy was really at a top of where we were in the league. And then we had a couple down years. We had a few down years. Unfortunately, I got put into the role I am now in 2023, towards the end of 2023, when we were kind of having a little bit of challenges. I got to see quite a bit in my time with the Galaxy and experienced a lot.
What was one move that you made early on when you moved into that role that you believe showed the fan base, showed the community, like, hey, like something is shifting here, something is changing?
It's a good question, because having been here for as long as I've been, there's a lot of people who would believe that things would stay the same and things would be the same. And what I will tell you is the culture of the LA Galaxy started long before I ever showed up. We've had some really amazing leaders and really amazing people in our organization long before I started. So the culture was shaped, and I think we're really unique. But when it comes to maybe some of the transformational change that we have is people expect when you start in a role that you have all the answers, right? They want to know what are you doing and how are you going to be different. And the reality is you don't know. I don't think you know. I think you have to be in the seat for a period of time to start to figure out what it is that you need to do. And it's almost a bit of an organic process of listening to your staff, listening to your fans. I think being authentic and being genuine is critical, because if you're not, at some point you're going to get called out on it. Right. You're going to get called out on being something that you're not, because you can't sustain it for a long period of time. And the other thing I kind of learned in the process is words really matter, and what you say matters. And every day in this role, no matter what you say, it builds on itself. It builds on itself every day. And if you're not being authentic, it's hard to get out of that. So you want to be genuine. And I think that's important with what we do with our fans. We want to listen to them. We want to hear from them. And we want to give them an experience at Sports Park with the Galaxy that they're excited about and that they want to come back to.
Did you do anything, like, if you could attribute like any particular thing to like the game day experience, the fan experience that helped kind of move that needle forward? Can you think of anything that you implemented?
It's all about the fan experience. Everything is about the fan experience. So we work really closely with our head coaches and our GM and close connection with our players, but at the end of the day, the game's the game, and wins and losses are largely outside of a lot of people's control. So what we do very hard is you have to build a fan experience. You have to build a fan experience that allows for fans to come, and then they want to come back. They want to truly come back. So when we first started in 2024, which was our championship season, we rethought everything we were doing with the fan experience. And there's some really amazing things that are really recognizable. For our first game, we were fortunate enough that we had Inter Miami and Lionel Messi come. And we knew that was a pivotal moment for us, so we started the DJ series, Sounds of the Galaxy, and we brought in Alesso, a massive DJ, to DJ our game. Which was exciting. Our fans got really behind that. We also changed what we were doing at Soccer Fest. But we did some things that maybe weren't as visible or weren't as recognizable. Like, we put in new security detectors that got people into our building a lot quicker than the traditional ones, where you go, you take everything out of your pockets, it beeps, the line backs up behind you. So we put in these contactless security detectors that you don't have to take anything in your pockets. You just get through the lines. So there's some really amazing things we did that's very recognizable and notable, like bringing in Alesso as a DJ. But there's also some really things that we did that aren't as visible that I think had just as big of an impact on our fan experience. Many people will give you a chance. It's really a matter of whether or not they give you a second chance, and whether or not you gave them a good enough experience the first time that they want to come back and do it again a second time. time, and a third time. And then maybe they become avid fans of the LA Galaxy. That's the key. And that experience, I think, moves the needle for one, them coming back, but also if you can have a full building, a full stadium, I think it really impacts the play on the field.
Yeah.
So our job is to make sure we put our players in the best position possible. How do we do that? We make sure the opening minute, our stadium is full and it's loud. Because that changes the game. It gives them that first moment we could score. That changes the dynamic. So how are we impacting the game on a daily basis? And I think we play a pivotal role in that. Because I'm a dad. I got 2 kids. And there's a lot of families that come to our games. They're not going to remember the score. They're simply not. Now, we have plenty of fans, and I'm not saying winning doesn't matter. Winning matters. But what I am saying, there's a lot of people that come, they just want to have the experience.
Yeah.
They want to know that their kids had such a good time that they're going to bother you like crazy to come back a second time. So, for example, we have Marvel Night this weekend, and we do things with Spider-Man, and we give out scarves. And that matters for little kids, right? So that's it. How are you reinventing and creating a fan experience that people want to come back? But the second you sleep and you don't continue to invent yourself and reinvent yourself is when you start to fall behind. So we have this constant challenge that every single year, every single game, how are we doing something different to make that individual fan experience better for that one individual?
How are you applying that same principle as a leader? I understand when you're leading the organization, but you as the leader of that reinventing yourself, like rituals or mindsets are you keeping for yourself to be able to do that for an entire organization?
So it took me a little while to figure this out because the people that you follow or that you grow up being your leaders, you like to think that that's who you should be. That's how you should be a leader because you see them and or maybe you see them as what you shouldn't be or what you should be. And you tend to say, well, I'm not that person and I need to be that person. And then going back to what I said before, you become a little disingenuous with who you are as a person. So I think it's important that as a leader, not all leaders are the same. And are not going to lead the same way. So I think it's important that you as an individual are leading how you are best to lead. Some people are really good at public speaking. Some people are really good at having one-on-one conversations. So I think it's important that you kind of find out what your superpower is and you try to lead your staff with that superpower. And it's never going to be the same for anybody. But I think it's very easy for the staff to know, or our employees to know, are you being genuine and do you have their best interests in mind? Are you showing up and are you putting in the work to make them aspire or desire to want something more? Now, our biggest challenge coming out of last year into this year was we won a championship last year. We were at the top. We went from the bottom all the way to the top. Now, going into 2025, how do you instill those beliefs in the people again? How do you find that desire, whether it's in the fan base or in a staff, to dig a little bit deeper and want more? Because you just won a championship. You just hit the top. There's got to be something more in people's souls and their hearts of why they're doing it. And for us, we're very fortunate. Every day we get to come to a stadium in Los Angeles with probably the most recognizable soccer teams in the world, but definitely in the US. So we have to find ways to kind of appreciate that, but also take advantage of it and dig for more every day. And every leader is going to be different.
That's incredible. You're so passionate about the fan base and the community that you're around. You guys have done so much in the youth programs to make sure that love for soccer continues. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why that's important?
Yep. So youth, I think, is what is going to elevate our sport. So when I was younger, you could not watch soccer on television. It wasn't available. You couldn't just show up. It wasn't even available every day, and there wasn't a professional league. So our league, MLS, was built out of the 1994 World Cup. Part of the 1994 World Cup was us as a domestic league had to be built in 1996. So 30 years later, we now have a domestic league that's highly successful. Going into 2026, which will be the 2026 World Cup, which will be the biggest event in the history of the world. Most number of teams, most attention, most dynamic in the US, in our backyard. A lot of adults that are my age didn't grow up with it, but now there are a lot of kids that are growing up with soccer. This is the most accessible sport in the world. You need a ball, you need a couple of sticks or a net, and you can play. So now we know that, and kids are getting birthed into the sport. The loyalty is being birthed into the sport. We have a lot of really successful sports teams in Los Angeles, and the Dodgers is one of them. A lot of people in Los Angeles that's a Dodgers fan, they were birthed into being a Dodgers fan. We're starting to realize and see the evolution of families and kids being birthed into being Galaxy fans, right? So we have a ton of programming. Our programming starts at 18 months old. Basically, if you can walk
What?
You can be in one of the LA Galaxy youth programs. It's called Galaxy Juniors, and it runs from 18 months old to about 6 years old. And you get a uniform, you get socks, you get a coach, and you learn skills, following direction. It's wonderful. I had really great experiences with my kids going through the program, and just developing and listening skills. And then you transition to kids that are becoming a little bit older, and you move into different curriculum that the Galaxy has. And then very different than a lot of American sports is we have an academy that starts at 12 and 13 years old that rolls all the way up into 18-year-olds. And then we have a second team, which is kind of the equivalent of AAA baseball and baseball. And then we have a first team. We have a full built-out club. It's not normal with professional sports teams in the U.S. We also operate a learning environment. So every single day at our stadium, we have 75 or so, 80 high school aged boys that come here. They get education and they play soccer.
Wow.
So our mission is, we really do want to create really good men and really good soccer players at the same time. Many of them won't go on to be professional soccer players, but I assure you every single one of them will go on to a really good education and at some point down the road be really good people if they're not right? So it's the whole well-rounded aspect of how are we growing the sport, and the youth is just key. And that's the soccer development side of it. We have a whole foundation and community aspect with the Galaxy where there's something special about a professional sports team that just resonates with the community like nothing else. For some reason, they rally behind sports teams where you don't get that with traditional businesses. So it's our duty and our responsibility to give back in a meaningful way to the community because the community gives so much to us. So we have a whole host of programs that we work with within the community to build up the community because the community builds us up.
I think that's so impressive. I think that recognizing like the youth, like investing in the youth is, it's key. That's what our future truly is. Like, that's how it's matriculating through. Now, with the youth, like, I know I was growing up in the Bend It Like Beckham age era, and of course, you guys bring in these incredible icons that the club is known for, that having these incredible icons that you bring over here. My question is that with you also being at this like entertainment like capital of LA, and then you've got these powerhouse icons that you're bringing in, what are you doing to intentionally intersect the sports, the entertainment, the media, the fashion, the art? Like, what are you doing to intersect all of those together?
Yeah, that's a good question. So David Beckham transcended, and he was different, right? He's the biggest signing in the history of our league, and a lot of people I think would agree to that. And so he brought something a little bit different. I think he largely put our league kind of on a map that it wasn't on before. But you're right, being in Los Angeles, we have the opportunity to kind of reach out further than just being sports. How do we tap into culture and all these other genres of Los Angeles or niches of Los Angeles that other cities have their own thing, but we're Los Angeles, right? So going back to just the DJ, we bring in a DJ, and on its face, you're going to say, well, you bring in a DJ. Okay, they're going to play music, and somebody who comes to an event, comes to a soccer match, they're going to hear great music. But it's not about that. It's not just about that. It's a part about that, but it's also about the following that music, that DJ or that musical act has. It's a different audience. It's a broader audience. It's an audience that might not have thought about us originally when they thought about sports. Right? So it's tapping into a broader market than we would typically have. And we have that at our disposal being in Los Angeles. We're giving them a platform because the Galaxy by itself is a really big megaphone, right? We have a really big platform.
Right.
But so do these artists. So how do we find that intersection to benefit each other, but also at the same time give a good entertainment experience for those who are attending a match? So it's intentional.
That's really incredible. You guys have done just so many incredible, impactful things. Are there any big goals or initiatives you have coming up?
We always do. We always have to do something meaningful. We always have to do more. We have the World Cup coming up, and this is a critical time that we have to be peaking at the right time as a sport and as a team and as a league to make sure we're capitalizing the entire world. I can't emphasize enough how impactful the World Cup is going to be in 2026. We have, I think, about 8 games at SoFi Stadium down the street, and the world is going to be paying attention. The U.S.'s first game is going to be played about 12 miles down the street from where we are. And so we have a whole host of things that we're going to be doing next year that we haven't announced yet, but we have a whole well built out plan that I think our fans are really going to fall in love with. And a lot about the Galaxy is we have the ability to tap into players on our team that are the most meaningful players that have ever played for the U.S. We have 2 individuals, Kobe Jones and Landon Donovan, are the 2 most recognizable U.S. men's national team players of all time. not even close. And they're still very active in everything we do within the LA Galaxy and within the soccer community. So we're going to continue to find ways to lean into that, and we'll have a really impactful, important plan rolling out the next year to continue to get attention and eyeballs onto the LA Galaxy and MLS soccer.
I love all of the discussion about like the legacy and the history behind the LA Galaxy, but I'm also curious about yours personally. You're a husband, you're a father, a community member. If we could fast forward 20 years from now and folks could say one sentence about the impact that you had on their lives, what do you hope that sentence could be?
It's definitely different when you have kids. If you dig deep into my story, a lot of my story centers around the fact that I got this job because of my wife. Right? So I say that because I worked in finance out of college. I worked at an investment bank. I had no idea I wanted to work in sports. None. It wasn't on the table for me. It was actually my wife's dream to be a president of a sports team. She's the one that, we were living in Washington, D.C. at the time, and she was the one who said she got a job offer in LA. And in that moment, I quit my job. We moved across country. She got a job being a lawyer at Fox Sports, and I went to go find what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I went back to USC and got my MBA, and it was her, and she said, you should go pursue sports. You have a passion for sports. You should look at sports. And for me, never dawned on me. So I did. And she's championed me throughout the whole process. She supported us when I was going back to business school. And now as a father, I think it's impactful that I get to see my kids experience this. Now, they are totally spoiled. They are completely spoiled that they get to do what they get to do. They get to come to games, they get to go on the field, but to see that and experience that. My 2-year-old, it's wild. Every morning, he wakes up and all he says is Galaxy. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. My friends think I'm crazy. They think I'm crazy because they think I put my kids in Galaxy gear every day. Because it's like a walking billboard for the club. But the reality is these kids love it. These kids love it. That's my story, right? That's my experience. But we'll have 20,000 plus people in this building this weekend. And that's a similar experience that a lot of families have with their kids. They just fall in love with this stuff. They fall in love with the sport. They fall in love with this team. And the legacy has to be about, how are you impacting those families on the individual level? How are you making them that no matter what happens on the field, you change their kids' lives, right? So for me, that's a big part of it. But it's also the stuff we do in our foundation and within our community. We work with kids that are going through serious stuff, really serious stuff. And they have moments where maybe they get to talk to our head coach or they get to talk to one of our players. And we've had some beautiful stories of these kids turning the corner from that experience. And that's the stuff that no matter how many championships you win, no matter anything else, that's the stuff that I hope at the end of the day is my legacy, is this club's legacy. So that's
where influence meets legacy.
If there was one thing that us or our team or our community could do to elevate you, what would that be?
It's a good question. I just give soccer a chance, right? Give it a chance, give the LA Galaxy a chance. I think it really invests in this sport, in this country. I think it means a lot. I think it really means a lot. I think of soccer, if you've never been into soccer, or you don't really have an experience with soccer, you probably don't realize it is 2 hours. It's 2 hours. So if you have little kids or you just have someone who doesn't have a long attention span, it's 2 hours. It's 90 minutes. And you'll see very quickly, it's very, very easy to fall in love with soccer. Very easy. So I would just challenge the audience, if you haven't given it a shot, give it a shot. Because I think you will easily fall in love with it. And now is the best time ever to kind of give soccer and the LA Galaxy or MLS a shot. I think it's important.
Well, we can't wait to experience our own game, and we'll make sure that in all of our show notes, y'all will have links to the LA Galaxy, so you can get your own tickets, the game schedule, all that fun stuff. But Tom, thank you for taking the time. You also have an incredible team that surrounds you and is really impacted by the culture and legacy that you're building here at the LA Galaxy. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for being with us.